It rains a lot where my big brother lives in England, and the sky seems to be gray most of the times. Yet, my big brother has a heavenly way of looking at things, and there's a very good reason for that.
The Garden of Eden needs some rain.
You ever notice that everything glistens when it rains?
Absolutely.
And everything did glisten the whole time that I visited my big brother in what he calls as God's own country. The drizzles and the puddles added charm to the well-preserved, centuries-old buildings, medieval castles, and historic ruins spread around this town called Coventry.
You know, the first time I was here, I thought I was in a set in Hollywood. Tell me something about this.
They're original Tudor buildings. They were built in the 1500s. But after the war, Coventry was bombed so badly. These buildings, most of them in this street, weren't actually located here. They were in different parts of the city, and they were moved brick by brick and rebuilt in this one street.
Well, this church looks very historic. What's the significance of it?
It was built in the 1200s. It was closed down by Henry VIII. But then it was reopened as a jail for prisoners, royalist prisoners during the Civil War, the English Civil War. And as the people here were parliamentarians under Oliver Cromwell, they didn't speak to them, and the expression "sent to Coventry" was born here.
Interestingly enough, seen as a threat by her cousin Elizabeth, Queen Mary of Scott was confined to this nearby castle for 19 years, and this was her room.
This was the original St. Michael's Cathedral in Coventry. It was bombed, as you can see, during the war. In 1940, the roof caved in with the bombings. So this is all that's left of it. Stunning building anyway. It's twinned with Dresden in Germany, which was also totally flattened. And the Frauenkirche there is the equivalent of this church. Also bombed and rebuilt after the war.
Have you ever felt some kind of spiritual awakening every time you come in here?
Every time I look in the mirror, I find a spiritual awakening.
You know, God doesn't make junk.
Only my opinion.
Sometimes opinions differ from one person to another.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to the concept of forgiveness.
All right.
You know,
well,
sometimes
if it makes you feel better, I forgive you.
We're crossing a bridge, a very memorable bridge.
In blazing June.
This thing that's above our head, it's called a brolly here. Did I pronounce it right, bro?
Brolly.
As a former stage actor, visiting Stratford-upon-Avon always fascinated me. After all, this is where Shakespeare, a revered poet and playwright, lived all his life. And I thank my big bro for always taking me here.
So bro, how does it feel like to walk in the very same grounds where Shakespeare walked?
Oh, pretty good.
Of course, visiting his grave in this church was just the proper thing to do.
Rush up, yes, Shakespeare. Start quoting him now. Rush up, yes, Shakespeare. And the women, you.
The Dirty Duck restaurant is where we rest our weary feet and where we satiate ourselves with ideas, along with food and drinks. The restaurant is located near the theaters and is often frequented by the actors performing at the theaters.
I'm presently doing Hamlet in the theatre across the road.
Seriously speaking, these are actors, Shakespearean actors. The play is called Much Ado About Nothing.
When the sun finally showed up, Big Bro and I went on a magic carpet ride to Oxford. This place of higher learning is flooded by unbelievable sights. But this is what I'll remember most.
What do you call that, bro?
A Scotch egg. Here it is.
Tastes like egg.
Cheers.
Dinner conversation at my bro's family is always a blast. Just listen to this one.
Why is this God's own country?
Lady Godiva and her nakedness.
It's the land of the Scots.
Nothing to do with Lady Godiva.
The football team.
Yeah, its multicultural background and violent history has created
Is that mine?
a tranquil place for the youth of
Oh, I
today.
asked one. I'm not sure.
What's that? No, it's not. It rains every day.
Of course, me and my big brother see it differently.
Yes. Yes. Stunning, isn't it? Absolutely stunning.
Definitely, we are in God's own country.
We certainly are.
And when you're in God's own country, it's always a happy day.